Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara and today we're going to be going over everything you need to know about Virgo energy. So very excited to get into this video. This video is probably going to resonate with you if you have a lot of Virgo energy in your natal chart. Maybe you have a stellium, maybe you have it in your big three, big six, maybe you just have one placement and this video is really going to resonate. Or maybe you're a cross watcher. If you are, welcome to the video as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I have so many things that I want to say about the Virgo energy. First, I'm going to kind of give you guys a few basics before I really get into the depths of it all. Also in this video, I'm going to be going over the light side and the shadow side of the sign because all of the signs have a light side and a shadow side. And I truly believe that we have to integrate the shadows so we can actually access the divine energy that that sign has to offer. That's the whole thing here I find with astrology. So with all of that being said, Virgo is ruled by the sixth house. It is an earth sign. It is the mutable earth sign. It is ruled by Mercury. So Mercury is ruled by Gemini and Virgo, which basically means that Mercury is going to be affecting these two signs differently. Gemini, in terms of Mercury rulership, is going to be very much about the day-to-day, the chatter, the friends, the friend groups, social media, like these types of things. It could be very much surface level conversations in terms of like, you like this person because they're interesting and that person, they're interesting, these types of things. You can also do a lot with talking, communicating. It's really all about communication when it comes to Gemini. They are highly intelligent. They do have a lot of ideas, but they can be very much scattered. Then we have Virgo in terms of Mercury rulership. And it's interesting because if we look at the progressions of the natal charts in general, the zodiac signs, you go out of the third house and eventually you get to the sixth house. So by the time we get to Virgo, Virgo is a more mature energy. It's going to be a more grounded way of expressing your ideas and your thoughts, especially comparing it to Gemini, where Gemini was maybe scattered. Virgo is going to be very grounded. They're going to really think things through before they actually pitch an idea. Now, sometimes this can be to their detriment in the sense where it's like they seek perfection on this high level that sometimes they might not actually pitch their ideas. They might not actually put things out there because it's not achieved this level of perfection that they're seeking. Videos like this, for example, maybe a Virgo individual is going to constantly focus on maybe something that's in the background and, maybe the video is good, maybe the information is good, but that thing is just bothering them in the background and they never end up posting it. So that's kind of the whole thing here with the Virgo energy. Overall, we have to understand that people who have this energy in their natal chart pretty much incarnated here to clear the energy of perfection, to understand that it doesn't exist, that it's not something that's attainable. Because the thing is, when you have a lot of this Virgo energy in your natal chart, it's like you're always seeking perfection. So you're always moving on to the next thing. Now, obviously, it's going to depend where you have it in your natal chart, but depending on the planets and the houses and all these sorts of things, wherever you have Virgo, that area of life, you might feel like you're not good enough in. Let's say it's in Venus, you might constantly be chasing the next relationship. You might find issues with all of your partners, these types of things, because again, Virgo as an energy is going to see things that are not there. That's the whole thing to understand with this energy. Now, before I go more in depth with that, one more thing that I did want to mention as well is Virgo does rule the digestive system. And it's interesting because I was thinking about what chakra to give Virgo as a sign. I did record a video last year on the chakras that I feel like pertain to each of the signs. For Virgo, I don't really remember what I said. While I was preparing for this video, I was thinking about it. Originally, I wanted to say throat chakra because of Mercury and crown chakra because of their mind. But also I want to say solar plexus chakra as well for this particular placement. Solar plexus chakra really deals with the identity, the confidence in life, feeling like you are enough. So a lot of the time, Virgo might be struggling with this area, which makes sense because if you feel like you're not enough, or you feel like your personal power is not there, or you feel like your power is being taken away from you, it's going to affect your digestive system. So I can kind of see how Virgo does relate to the digestive system. Now, again, this is just my own observation and connection that I've made. I can also see how it can relate to the throat chakra in terms of communicating the ideas that you have. But like I said, they're not going to be like Gemini, where it's like Gemini just blurts everything out and they say everything to everyone and, they're friends with everyone. The thing is with the Virgo energy, it's going to be very much thought through. They want to perfect the thought before they actually put it out there. Because again, it's all about perfection. So it's like, let's say they're making a video like this. They want to make sure that the information is accurate and that it's to the point. They're not going to come and say just random things just to fill the time. That's not Virgo energy. They're really going to analyze it. Now, going back to the mutable aspect of the sign. So because Virgo does deal with this energy of the higher mind, they're going to find things to focus on in terms of like, okay, this is my new obsession right now. Like people who have a lot of Virgo energy in their natal chart can basically dedicate their lives to whatever they're super interested in at the time. And a lot of the time it's going to be something to do with like either computing away, investigating something. And it's interesting because it's like, yes, Scorpio is the private investigator sign, but we also have Virgo, which is also a private investigator in their own way. I want to say that Virgo is a private investigator in the sense where it's like they want to find a solution to a problem. And if they don't have that solution, if they don't have that answer, they're going to focus on it until they basically get the answer to whatever it is that they're looking for. That's why a lot of the time you'll see people who maybe have like PhDs, you know, they're doing a lot of research or like a lifelong career of research. They have a lot of Virgo energy because it's like they're trying to find a solution to a problem. They're researching. And again, they're kind of putting pieces together. The thing is with the Virgo energy, it's an amazing energy in terms of like the attention to details. So for example, there could be people who worked at an office for like 30 plus years, whatever, maybe the manager was there for that long. The Virgo person comes in and literally maybe in their first week, they can come in and they could be like, why do you guys do this like this? You know, it doesn't make sense. And everyone's going to be like surprised because nobody ever noticed that problem. They're very good at picking up on, you know, gaps in an area. They're going to notice what maybe people didn't say in terms of like, okay, that story is not adding up. It's very, very interesting, this energy, if you really, really think about it. So they're going to be very good to bring through, let's say you have a project that you've done, bring the Virgo person through to see, are there any issues here? Are there any missing links? Maybe even doing things like video editing where they like pick up on things that are lacking, or just like being a critic of some sort in terms of like career even would be very, very good for Virgo because again, they're going to notice the flaws. So the thing is with this energy, like whatever craft they pick, they're going to perfect that craft. And that's really what Virgo is here to teach us, especially in terms of the earth plane. They're here to teach us that things take time and that you have to basically constantly work at something to perfect that thing, to become very good at it. It's like practice makes perfect. Ultimately, like I said, perfection doesn't really exist, but the Virgo energy is going to get very close to it. And they're not going to present it to you if they have not resolved it, especially intellectually, if that makes sense. They have to make sense of it. And then they're going to deliver the information to you in a very grounded type of way so you can literally understand it. Now, again, it depends what area they're delivering the information, and it really depends on the rest of your natal chart. Let's say you're like a scientist. Well, in that sense, you're going to use like the science terminology for like the scientists to understand. But that's kind of like the whole idea here with the Virgo energy. You're going to notice a lot of people who do have this placement or a lot of Virgo energy in their natal chart, they're going to pick careers for themselves that require a lot of attention to detail, a lot of time, because the thing is, this placement is also going to have a lot of patience. That's the whole thing with this placement. And also what Virgo is teaching us is that, again, you have to work towards something, practice makes perfect, and you need patience to basically push through until the end, whether you're getting a degree, whether you're becoming a doctor, whether you're becoming a veterinarian, because that's another thing that the sixth house rules. It can rule pets and animals. It also is all about being of service. It's health, healing, and being of service. That's the whole thing with the sixth house. So it's really interesting to see because the sixth house and the 12th house are very much about the healer's axis. That's the way that I see it. And they bounce off of each other. It's really interesting to see. A while back, I did do a video on oppositions to see how all of the energies bounce off of each other. So Virgo bounces off of Pisces. So this is the healer's axis. They're going to be healers in different ways. Virgo is going to take that Piscean knowledge and really ground it into the physical plane. And they're probably going to be very good at manifesting because it's like the Piscean dreams that the Pisces energy has, Virgo takes and they ground it in the earth plane. Now, Pisces energy can get lost. Sometimes that Pisces energy can deal with the illusions and delusions of life. And honestly, sometimes in life, you do got to be a little bit delusional to bring things through. But what I'm really trying to get at is you're taking that Piscean energy, those dreams, and you find a practical way to go about it. That's why a lot of the time you'll notice is people are going to be highly, highly intuitive. Now, they might not necessarily consider themselves intuitive, but what I will tell you guys is because they think about things so much, like they try to find a solution to a problem, boom, there's claircognizance. They're thinking about it so much, they're focusing all their energy to it, and this is really what psychic information is. It's when you focus your energy on something and then you focus on it so much that that idea does eventually come through. Now, one more thing I also wanted to talk about in this video is that the Virgo energy pertains to the Hermit card in the tarot. So what does this really tell us? It's interesting to see. The Hermit card is all about taking time to yourself, isolation, really, really contemplating in the dark. That's really that Hermit energy. If we think about it, what do animals do in the wintertime? They go off and they hibernate, they regenerate. So that's kind of that Virgo energy where it's like you go into your shell. And same thing if we look at the butterfly is created, you know, when it goes into its cocoon and it takes that time, right? So basically what that Virgo energy is teaching us is that when we go into our shell, we go into our cocoon, we go into that introspective state is really when the ideas bloom. When you go through that deep introspection, that deep reflection of the self and you transform on this level. So that's the thing with the Virgo energy. It's really when you go through this deep introspection that you're going to go through this huge transformation within. Now, the thing is with the Virgo energy, because they can really get into their heads, you guys can go through a lot of overthinking energy, overanalyzing. You guys can become very, very critical of the world because again, you're going to notice things that other people don't notice. That's the whole thing with this energy. It's attention to detail, but like to an extreme is really what that is. So sometimes what you'll notice is that this energy can really go into the shadow of being very, very critical of everything around them, where it's like they notice everything. It really depends where you have it in your natal chart. But let's say it's like in your Venus sign. If you have it in your Venus sign, you might be super critical of your friends or your partners or just your romantic relationships in general. When you do have it in here where it's like you might notice one thing and it might bother you so much about that person. So that's the thing with this energy. It's like, as beautiful as it can be, this energy can really be used in the light aspect of things where it's like they notice something that's missing. Maybe they're doing calculations, they're doing some sort of math equation that needs to be figured out. Like they can be very good in these areas where it's like they need to pick up on something that's missing, a missing link. But also it can really quickly maybe start to affect your relationships and just your day-to-day things. Now, what's interesting about this Virgo energy is if we look at the upbringing of a Virgo person, what tends to happen is it depends again where you have it in your natal chart. But in terms of upbringing, there's usually something going on where it's like the parents or parent, again, depending on where you have it in your natal chart, they were very much critical of you. So it's like the Virgo child always has this internal energy where it's like they feel like they're not good enough. There's that solar plexus chakra again. Now what tends to happen is because Virgo does deal with the routine and they do deal with the day-to-day, what at least I find to happen with this energy is like they love to put themselves in like a routine of some sort because it deals with the energy of control. So that's the whole thing that you guys might have to work on if you have a lot of Virgo energy in your natal chart, because it's like a lot of the time I find Virgo wants to have a fixed schedule. They want to have, everything happening the same every day, that routine, because it gives them a sense of control. Because for whatever reason, when they were growing up, there wasn't a sense of control. This is something that I've really noticed with the Virgo energy, and why they become so nitpicky and all these types of things is because it deals with control. So it's like, let's say like in their house, there's something that's like not in the right place. It's going to really bother them. Also, Virgos can be very, very clean. That's another thing with the Virgo energy as well. You're going to have everything in a particular place. Everything's going to be pristine. And then maybe one thing is off, someone came in the house and like messed up the arrangement of things. It's like, it's really going to bother that person because again, it's an energy of control. That's at least the conclusion I've come to with this Virgo energy. So it's like when they were growing up, something was spinning out of control, or they had a hypercritical parent where it's like they were picking on everything on that child. So you've internalized a lot of this. That could be one thing that happens. Now, another thing that I've noticed with Virgo energy as well is, for whatever reason, again, it depends where you have it in your natal chart or if you have an abundance of this energy. For whatever reason, the Virgo child, when they are growing up, they grow up in an environment where the parent, let's say there's more siblings, the parent's kind of like, oh, I don't have to worry about the Virgo child because they're good. They're very competent. That's another thing that this energy deals with. The Virgo energy very much deals with competence and being very competent. I always say, if you want a job done properly, put the Virgo person in that particular job or task. They will get it done to the T, and even better, it'll exceed your expectations because this energy is all about competence. So usually what tends to happen, again, from what I've observed with this energy, is one of the scenarios is when they are growing up, the parents or parents, depending on your situation, is going to be like, oh, I don't have to worry about the Virgo kid. The Virgo kid's got everything down. When you were growing up, again, you could have been very competent as a child. You guys could have, packed your own lunches, and maybe you guys even took care of the other siblings, made sure that everything was in order. You guys could have been very, very good students as well. Again, giving the parent reason not to worry about the child. And it's like this kind of perpetuates throughout your life, where it's like from a very young age, you become very competent at a lot of these tasks. So again, that could be another reason why the critical energy comes through when you have Virgo placements, because it's like you guys had to be competent from a young age. And it's like you guys kind of wonder and you look at the world and it's like, how are you not competent? How can you be so sloppy? That's the biggest trigger probably for a Virgo person. It's like if they see someone who's sloppy in terms of like, doing their job, making mistakes, being lazy, like these types of things, the Virgo person is going to be like, how are you like that? So there could be an energy of this as well. When you guys were growing up and in the home, the parents were like, I don't have to worry about that kid. Or it could have gone in the critical energy where you guys felt like you had to be perfect. And it could have even gone in the energy where it's like, because you guys were kind of like the golden child, I guess, in the sense where it's like you guys were very good at school, the parent kind of gave you the recognition for being good at school, so it kind of perpetuated throughout your life. So these are a few different scenarios that I've noticed with the Virgo energy that can also pan out in terms of growing up, because when we're looking at these signs, you kind of have to look at everything. We have to see, how did the sign manifest? Why did it karmically come through? And all these types of things, and how is it applying in your life currently? What are the shadows, and how can you integrate those shadows to be in the divine version of the sign? So what's the divine version of the sign? It's the healer. That's the thing. That's the thing with the Virgo energy. Now, again, it might be a more practical method of healing. The Virgo energy, again, does deal with the earth plane because it is an earth sign. So you'll notice maybe doctors, nurses, people who are in the health industry. Now, again, depending on the rest of your natal chart, you might be interested in alternative healing. Things like Reiki, holistic medicine, even massages, massage therapy, like these types of things. you might notice these individuals in these areas as well. Now, that's not to say that these are the only industries you'll find Virgos in. Again, it depends on the rest of your natal chart. Really, in a lot of combinations, it can manifest a lot of different ways because, again, you guys are going to be the best at whatever it is that you guys pick. That's what's really interesting about this energy. The best in the sense of competence. You're probably going to be the top employee of every month. You might come into the job and learn the job right away. Like, it's very intelligent because you guys are able to compartmentalize things in your mind and you're able to learn fast because it's ruled by Mercury. That's the thing with this energy. You might find faster ways of doing things. Again, you might be employee of the month, or when you were in school, you might be like the star student of the month or whatever. Like all these types of things, you guys are going to get a lot of recognition because again, it does deal with competence. That's really that Virgo energy. You guys are just very good at what it is that you do. Now, another thing with the Virgo energy is that you guys are all about being of service as well. Now, this is going to be on a huge range. A huge shadow trait that Virgo has to deal with is overgiving. That's the whole thing here. It's a shadow of the feminine where it's like you're constantly giving and you're giving too much to people, where it's like you're not filling your own cup first. That's a huge thing that Virgo has to work on. And it's interesting because in one of my oracle card decks, there was a card called the Healer of All Ages. If I find an image of it, I'll put it up for you guys here. And it's like, that's really what the Virgo energy really reminds me of when they are in their divine version, when they are in their highest potential. Because the thing is, Virgo energy is going to go through a lot. And again, because it does deal with health, healing, and being of service, they might have karma surrounding health, or they might just be paranoid around their health when they're in the shadow energy of it. There's always going to be something going on with health. You guys might have certain diets that you guys pick, because the thing is, because Virgo is all about like focusing on one thing, you guys might find a diet that you guys like and you just eat that every day. Like that's another thing with the Virgo energy as well. And it's like you eat that for like a week and then you get sick of it and then you find the next thing to focus on, or it can be a whole diet plan that you guys find that works for you, and you guys are very like particular in terms of what you eat. Like, I can't eat this, I can't eat gluten for this reason, like all these types of things. Like, let's say you guys are picking this, let's say it's not an actual health condition, but again, it can be a health condition as well. That's the thing with the Virgo energy. There's a lot going on with this energy, and eventually, again, because I find a lot of the time this energy goes through a lot of things, they're there to help and heal in whatever way, shape, or form. Now, this might manifest differently for different people because it's like it depends on the rest of your natal chart. Sometimes just being yourself and talking about your story and whatever you guys have been through is a way to help the collective, is really what it is, because it's authentic. It's the most authentic vibration is when you experience things. And I find a lot of the time this energy goes through a lot of things, and then they're there to help people because it's like they've overcome that energy as well in terms of like health, health, healing, being of service. Now, that might not necessarily resonate for everyone. I'm not saying this is going to happen to you or anything of that sort. This is just one dimension of this energy. There's a lot to say with the Virgo energy. Now, one more thing that I do want to mention with this energy as well is that sometimes they can fall into the shadow of procrastinating. That's a huge thing to understand with this energy, because you're super focused on the idea of perfection, whether they're aware of it or not. They want it to be perfect. Like I mentioned, it might not ever be put out there. So that's kind of the overall energy here with the Virgo energy and my observations of it thus far. Overall, what you guys are working on is going to be the energy of control, allowing things to spin out of control sometimes, not getting too stuck in a day-to-day routine, because if you're too stuck in a day-to-day routine, it's very difficult for new energies to come through. Sometimes maybe switching that up, taking a different way home or taking a different class in the evenings. These types of things could be a very good way to switch up the energy. Now, another thing also is going to be all about that overthinking energy, not allowing yourself to go too much into the overthinking. Because again, if you go too much into that hermit phase, you guys might isolate yourselves too much. You guys might bounce into that Piscean energy where it's like you're too much in isolation because you see so many issues with the world, with people around you. And again, it's like the more you spend in isolation, the more issues you're going to find with people in the world around you. So there's going to have to be like a balance in terms of this energy if you guys are in that particular shadow, spending time with other people, being okay with people's flaws, and understanding that the world just overall isn't perfect. I would say that's the biggest karma for this particular placement to face, is understanding that the world's not perfect, not switching jobs all the time because you found a flaw in it, like these types of things, or relationships all the time. It really depends where you have that Virgo energy in your natal chart, because again, it's going to find issues, the Virgo energy, and it's like, it's always going to be on to the next thing, because it's like, you're always dealing with the energy of not feeling good enough, or something's just not enough. Again, it always comes back down to that. It's that solar plexus chakra that's not balanced. So balancing this, figuring out some ways that you guys can balance this energy within yourselves. Also, maybe not going too much into the overgiving energy, and really understanding that certain things that may have happened to you throughout your life, that you guys are really here to use those experiences to elevate basically the consciousness of the planet, is really what that is. You guys are the healer. That's the thing with this placement. It's a healing energy and it's very grounded. And because you guys are the healer, you guys might attract a lot of negative energies into your life in terms of like people with a lot of problems. And again, you guys might overgive and you feel like you might overextend yourselves to those people, and you guys don't get anything in return, and then you guys might feel drained. So that's kind of the whole thing here. In terms of careers, anything that deals with attention to detail is going to be very good for you guys. but it really depends on the rest of your natal chart. I find this energy, like I said, is going to be very competent, and whatever it is that they pick to do is really what that is. And one more thing that I do want to mention for this energy as well is allowing yourselves to enjoy, because sometimes this energy can get super focused again on their goals or their career or whatever it is that they're working toward, that focus that they have during that time. They might not allow themselves to enjoy. They might just be super into like figuring out again what the solution is to the problem. So giving yourselves some time to enjoy and to play might be a good way to balance this energy as well. So my dear friends, I'm going to wrap up this video here on everything you guys need to know about Virgo and my findings so far. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day.